What's up?
Hey, welcome back.
Hey! Welcome to the Love Kanika podcast. My name is Kanika,
My name is Vanita.
and we took a little break, but we are back in full effect.
That's we
Um,
did. It was
yes,
wonderful. Thanks for being patient with us, guys.
yes, yes. We took a couple of months off to take care of some personal stuff, but we are
Yes.
back in full effect and ready to chop it up with you guys. If you are new to the channel, which you possibly are, because this is not a really old podcast, maybe like we going into our second year, maybe third. I'm
Yeah.
not quite sure. Maybe think 2.5 years. If you don't mind subscribing to the channel and liking the video, because of course, like I said, it's a new podcast, so any engagement we can get will help us be thrown into the algorithm. So we can
Yes.
get more eyes on the show. So we really appreciate your support. How
Definitely.
are you, V?
I'm doing good. It's a Wednesday. We're halfway through the week. Works for
Yeah,
me.
hump day for sure.
Yes. Yes.
And we do the show every Wednesday at 7:30,
Yes.
live. We do the show live so that we can engage with all of you. So again,
Yes.
we would love for you to join us every Wednesday night at 7:30. You know,
Yeah,
if you don't have nothing to do, because we have some amazing topics coming up, and
I do.
we do like other insight besides our own. So we do drop the link,
Exactly.
a lot of times, and you can come up, if you have something to add to the conversation, or you just might not like what me and Vanita had to say.
Exactly. Simple as that. We take
Yeah,
rebuttals. We take other outlooks, on whatever the topic is. So we
yeah,
welcome all.
we love that. Okay,
Yeah. How
so
are you feeling,
oh God, I
ma'am?
feel amazing.
Oh, that is wonderful. Okay, amazing. You better come on through. Okay.
Yeah,
All
I feel
right.
amazing. I feel
That's
amazing.
what's up.
Had a good night last night. You know, love those
That's
good
awesome. Yes.
nights.
That's what's up.
Yes.
So what we
So,
flowing into today?
so we're gonna talk about a topic that you and I have been deeply, just discussing amongst ourselves. The last when we talk about it all the time, that's kind of, our thing, personal growth. But we're gonna get in a little bit deeper into a conversation I had with a friend of mine, and about me.
Okay.
He well, the topic is going to be how society, the matrix,
Okay.
you know, these people kind of
Yes.
program women, program women to us to kind of focus on men and relationships. I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only one who notices that women, we spend a lot of our time and energy orbiting around men and relationships
Sure.
and trying to get into them. And a lot of times to the detriment of our own selves, of our own growth, and a lot of times to the detriment of our own self worth.
I
So I
agree with
kind
that.
of talk about, yeah, I want to talk about that tonight because my friend, like was stating earlier, I had put this picture. Recently went to a bridal shower, and I had taken this picture before the bridal shower, and I posted the picture in my Instagram stories. And he made a comment about how when he looked at the picture, he was like, I noticed that you seem to be glowing. You seem to be like lit up. I can kind of
Wow.
see it through your picture. Yeah, yeah. And
That's pretty cool.
it is that he could see it through the picture. And I was like,
Hmm.
it's funny and that you say that because I feel like the picture looks, but it wasn't always that way. Like it
Hmm.
wasn't. I didn't always fill myself up or fill my own cup. I too earlier, in my uh late teens, early 20s, kind of all not all through my 20s, but a lot of my 20s, felt like I too had to get into a relationship or that was the thing to do Because when you're younger, when you're, I don't know, 7, 8, or 9, almost everything you watch on TV, even cartoons, is about a mama and a daddy, right? A
It
mama and
is.
a daddy or a baby or some kind of
Any
relationship.
cartoon, any movie, majority of them has that type of scenario. Yes.
Yes, yes. So what that does subconsciously, when you're always seeing images of what society tells you should do,
Hmm.
what steps you should take, or what your life should look like, what your mind does is try to create that, right? Because you don't
Yeah,
know nothing else to do. And that's
exactly.
why
That's true.
women, we really start trying to get into relationships a lot of times real young before we even have any idea who we are, right? We're trying to make a family and
Mhm.
start a family. And, I wasn't, now I was never real man, like I was never real relationship focused, meaning, I know a lot of women who, they can't be without a relationship. There's been their whole life since, teenagers is trying to be in a relationship and blah blah blah. I was never really like that. But when I remember getting into my 20s, I did, in my mind, I did say, okay, I'm at this age where they say
Mhm.
I need to settle down. Did you ever feel that way, V?
Yeah, no different. I didn't feel that with relationships. I actually felt that with kids. I
Ah,
felt
that's another
like,
program.
yeah, by that I needed to have a child by the age of 30 or I wouldn't be able to keep up with the child because that's what society tells us. Like, you want to have your kids early on so you're still able to run around and move around and things of that sort with them and be able to keep up with them. So that's what my thought process was. So I am familiar with what you mean by a relationship, but I actually didn't hear that on the West Coast. I don't recall hearing we needed to be in a relationship by 20s or something, or you don't have it together. Yeah, I didn't hear that part.
It wasn't that you needed to be in a relationship by your 20s or whatever, but that's the thing you do. You get into a
Gotcha.
relationship. Like, I never really saw society stress, well, women, you need to, I don't know, focus on becoming, I don't know, a doctor or astronaut, or you know what I mean? Like, to me, it's not honestly.
No, the doctor and the astronaut stuff came in like your elementary school years, but it didn't travel all the way through middle school and high school.
No.
No, it was almost like those were false dreams, if you will.
Yeah,
Like,
and you may have heard that in school, but when you're watching movies and TV shows and all of these things that really
they
program your
definitely
mind, people don't understand how much these
they did.
TV shows and
Hmm.
movies and all this
Yes,
media stuff really affects your mind. You don't
that's true.
realize that because it's literally telling you how to live, if you will, even if
I
you're
think
not
we're not
aware of it.
agreed. I think that we're not totally I think the world is evolving quicker than our brains and our minds are, or in the teaching of our elders. Um, it's moving faster than they can keep up with for that identity. Because if you think about it, our generation, yes, we watch TV some, but the our parents' generation, TV came about when?
I'm not quite sure, but it's funny. My mother got married at, I think my mother got married at either 17 or 18. She got
Okay.
married right out of high school. And she and I had a conversation about her getting married and she had me, I don't know, 18 or 19, literally right when she got married. And we
Okay.
had a conversation about the reason she decided to do it because we, we were riding and, we were just talking about her and my dad and their relationship, and she's like, the only reason why I married your dad is because everybody else was doing it. She was like, the only reason why I married
So
him. Go ahead.
she's talking society, not necessarily the TV, but her surroundings of what she's seeing.
Right,
I
right,
got you.
right,
Okay.
right. Yeah, she was saying that that's what she's seen around.
Hmm.
Everybody was doing it, and although she wasn't really feeling it, this is her word, not mine. She said she wasn't really feeling him like that. She felt like
Your mom's so funny. Oh my
trip,
God.
a trip. You know what I mean?
But okay.
She wasn't really feeling him like that. That's what she felt like she had to
Was
do, and I
supposed to
think,
do. Yeah.
yeah, and that programming of whether it's your culture or
Hmm.
whether it's a societal program, because having kids for women is a societal program. It just doesn't affect our
That is
community.
true.
The matrix tells women this is your job to have a child, whether you want a child, can take care of a child, or whatever the
And keep in
situation may be.
mind, again, that's not just within our community, is what we're saying. That society says that to everybody.
Everybody,
Everybody.
everybody.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
an that's an example of a huge program that the
It
matrix
is.
downloads into your head, and it makes you
Mm-hmm.
believe this is what you want to do. Because
Those are
it's if
facts.
you need not to go nowhere but to YouTube or TikTok, and you will see so many videos of women saying that they thought they had to do it because the program is so it is it overrides any personal desire that you may have because you feel like they said that's what you do, that's what you do. And it's kind of the
Period.
same thing with me with relationships. Women feel like, that's what you have to do. You get into a relationship, you need to become a wife. Like that word means so much to women, right? Wife.
Oh yes.
And
It
women
does.
strive to attain this title because the matrix has convinced women that being chosen by a man makes you valuable, it makes you validated, it makes you almost better than.
That is
Because
what they say.
and I say that because sometimes over the years when I have posted certain things or commented in certain groups, on Facebook or wherever, men will their rebuttal or they'll try to shade me. This is their idea of shade. That's why you ain't married. That's why you ain't married. Like they really believe, men believe that them choosing us should make us feel worthy. They believe that. So they feel like I should feel a way when they say that's why you ain't married. Because again, that's
That's
their
true.
program. So it's two sides to the coin.
Mhm.
It's women trying to
It
be
is.
validated by choosing this title, and it's men thinking that every woman feel like they won't be validated until they get this title. And
Hmm.
so you go after it, and a lot of times you go after it way too young. You don't even know yourself. And that was kind of me. I found myself in my first couple of relationships that ended horribly. Like, I don't know, as 18, 19. Well, I think one I got into when I was 18. That was the first one out of my house, moved out of my house into the house with him. Bad mistake. He was
Okay.
abusive, ended up being very abusive. I'm gonna have a whole separate show on that because that's a whole saga in itself. And then
Yeah.
after I escaped, and I say the word escaped because that's what I did, that relationship, I got into another one where he ended up moving out of state with another woman and didn't even tell me. So my
Mm.
shit started off all bad out the gate,
Yeah.
right? These are my first
Hmm.
two, men that I had feelings for. So by the time I got to number three, I already began to think, wait a minute, this thing they said we supposed to do, it ain't working
It
for
ain't
me.
adding up right. Hmm.
I ain't doing it
Hmm.
right. Why
You
aren't
thought something
I
was wrong with you? You thought something was wrong with you?
I said I ain't doing it right. Something wrong with
You
me.
just
I'm not good enough. I did. I thought I must not be good enough. Like
Mm,
I
mm,
must
mm.
not be good enough.
I feel you.
Because
Yeah.
they're not. Look, B. I must not be
Mm.
good enough because they ain't keeping me.
Choosing me. Yeah, they not choosing me really. They won't stick around. Like what the heck? It
Yes,
is a
and I
program, a deep
internalized
one.
that. Yeah, I internalized that thought process because the society had made me believe that my value and my worth came from whether a man chose me.
Which, i.e., goes back to going back to what your friend said. Not you having that thought process, your energy would be low. You would not shine.
I wouldn't shine. I can't, you
Mm-mm.
can't shine if you don't even feel worthy inside,
Worthy.
right?
There you go. Yep.
So so after the second situation where the in the I can't remember what show I told this story on. I think I told this story on I Have a Twin Flame. So if you haven't seen my show called I Have a Twin Flame, go back. It's in the archive. I can't remember exactly when I did it. Probably been about a year or so now, but I did a
Hmm.
show called I Have a Twin Flame, and I explained the whole situation with the guy just packing up. Didn't tell me. He didn't even tell me. He didn't even feel that I deserved to know, that he had chosen to go off with a girl he was dating in college and move to another state. I had to find out from his roommate, but I tell that story on that show if you want to go back and listen to it. So after that situation, I really was feeling some kind of way about myself. Deeply. And then I came upon this other guy, the one I talk about in the I Have a Twin Flame
Hmm.
show. And when I tell you that relationship, situationship, non-relationship, because it was all that. It was nothing and something at the same damn time. How can you? How can it be nothing and something at the same damn time?
That's why I'm laughing at you because I'm like, okay, so make that make sense.
Nothing and something, right?
Yes.
That took me through uh, the emotional ringer. And it was just the relationship I needed. It was just the experience I needed to wake me the F up when it
That's deep.
comes to men and self worth and value, right?
Hmm.
To make a long story short, he and we met at this club called 20 Grand. If you're from the A and you over 40, you probably know what I'm talking about. It was a club back in the day. Um, everybody used to go to on Sunday. We met
Hmm.
there. Um, it kind of started seeing each other. Had a very strong, unusual connection that caused me to chase him in a way. And when I say chase him, it ain't like I was, he wasn't reciprocating in any way because he was, but he wasn't reciprocating in the way that I deserved to have him reciprocate, right?
Hmm.
He was
Yes.
basically I was on his time. Whenever he wanted to see me or do something is when we would see or do something. It was never a reciprocal situation. And I
Hmm.
was trying to make him see me. I was trying to make him see that I was worthy of his time and attention. So I would do things. Let me give you an example of something I did. He used to like this beer. What is it's a I think it's an Irish beer. It's in a green, it's not Heineken. It's not
Hmm.
Heineken though. It's in a green bottle. I can't remember the name, but it's not a beer that most people drink. It's like a different country type of beer that he likes. And I remember going to the liquor store and getting getting I think it was a 6 pack V, or may have been a 12 pack. Because I know he liked this beer.
Understood. I
And
mean, listen, if you feel like that's your boo, that's in your mind what you do. I get
yeah,
it.
and I thought he was my boo, but he didn't think I was his boo.
His
That would have
boo.
definitely one-sided.
And that
So
happens quite often today
yes,
in
yeah,
most women's world. Hmm.
yes, it was one. It was like I said, he reciprocated whenever he wanted to reciprocate. It wasn't no, relationship, real relationship.
Yeah, true
Yeah,
reciprocation. I
yeah, that's
got you.
why I say something and nothing at the same damn time. But I went and got a 6 pack of beer and took it up. Now, mind you, we didn't live far. That's another thing I did. I moved from one side of town to his side of town, right around the corner, y'all.
Oh,
He
that's
lived.
deep.
If it took him 3 minutes to get to my house from his house. Literally come out my apartment complex, make a left, go around the curve. His subdivision was on the left. 3 minutes.
Oh, you definitely, but wow. Okay.
I tried to pretend like I just want to live on that side of town, but that wasn't the truth. I was trying to be with him.
Listen, at least you were able to admit it to yourself. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? That's half the battle.
I wanted him. I wanted him
Hmm.
bad. I did.
Hmm.
So I went and got the beer, and he, at the time, he had a job where he worked late. Like he didn't get off till like 11 o'clock. So I dropped the beer. I was like, okay, when he gets home, I'm just gonna have the beer at his door, at his doorstep.
Okay.
That's a wild as hell. Woo, girl, I would have the beer at his doorstep, so he'll have it when he get there. So sure enough, I went about the beer, put it on his doorstep,
Uh-huh.
waited for him because he was at work. Waited for him to. I didn't wait there, meaning I was waiting on him to like call me and be
Give a
like,
response or something.
"Yeah, it
Yeah.
was so. Oh my god, that
Hmm.
was so nice of you, blah blah. You thought it out, me, da da." Benita, crickets.
So he never said nothing at all.
Mm-mm. He never even acknowledged my good deed, and that's
Okay. Not
he
your
didn't.
good deed, guy, but okay.
He didn't, and it hurt my feelings so bad. But that's
I'm
the thing.
sure I would have been
It
crushed.
did.
I would have been in my
I was
room crying my butt off. I feel you.
I was crushed, but though that's the type of stuff I did, and I'm giving you the example to show you that he hadn't did not one thing for me to deserve for me to take now
Deserve.
13 minutes though.
Hmm.
Do all of that, take it like he hadn't did anything reciprocal for me to do that. But I was trying my best to get him to see me as worthy, right?
Hmm.
And that's what a
Yeah.
lot of women we do. We overgive, we overextend,
True.
we over compromise,
That's
we
true.
overlook things we shouldn't, we
That's
stay
true.
too long
Oof.
because
We
we
definitely
don't
do.
value ourselves. We don't see we be loving them more than we love ourselves.
Big
And
time.
that's why so many women spend so much time and energy chasing men and relationships because they're trying to get the love that they should be feeling for themselves. In the inside, they're trying to get it from the outside.
Hmm.
And it rarely ever works because what women don't seem to understand, because women don't really go beneath the surface a lot. We don't. We're kind of very fantasy like. But if you go beneath the surface and you think about it, these men that we're trying to get to love us, they come from the same broken home we came from.
Hmm.
They don't have no daddies a lot of times.
True.
They don't process emotion at all. Not
That's one of
comfortable
the
with it.
biggest issues. Their ideal of processing emotion is anger. That's not the only emotion that we have.
That's the only
Sirs,
thing they're comfortable with.
that's not the only emotion. Getting mad and talking on the phone and getting into an argument with uh, your girlfriend, your wife, your baby mama, whomever, your sisters, your mama, yelling and screaming and hanging up the phone. Nobody heard anything that anybody said. And
Exactly.
it's childish and disrespectful.
But they're not comfortable with any other emotion a lot of time because society socializes them to not like deal with how they feel. They're
Exactly.
they're taught very young to shut down emotion. Oh, you're a man, you don't cry. Oh, man up, da 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 da. So that program that's downloaded into them very young, they hold strong to that even through adulthood. And even when it's pointed out to them, because I know some men who are seeing that now, who are seeing how that part of them hasn't served them,
Hmm.
particularly when it came to relationships.
Relationships.
While they
Yep.
ended, yeah, it didn't serve them. They still have a hard time making the change
Exactly.
because the program is that strong.
It
The
is.
ego is holding on to it. The ego is like, no, a man don't do this. Men don't do this. So
Exactly.
you're trying to get these men to love you, and they don't even know how to really love themselves. So now everybody is trauma bonding, right? They're
Yes.
trauma bonding. That's why
Big
Black
time.
relationships rarely work out, because no one is really in a healed enough space to go the long haul. It's we like each other, I like you, you fine. We start having sex, maybe a baby comes in, boom, drama,
Every
right?
time.
That's what happens
Every
because no
time.
one is focusing on healing, focusing on evolving, focusing on working on the things that we don't like about ourselves, particularly women. And we're
Yeah.
gonna go back to women because unfortunately for us, if we have a baby and the younger we
It's
have it,
on
whew,
you. It's on you.
it's on you. So what time do you have to focus on yourself when you got a whole human to raise?
That you're trying to keep alive and make the best decisions for them. Because I don't believe, again, and I've said this many a times, I don't believe women go into it wanting their kids to be to not finish up school or not evolve or not be them astronauts and those IT people or the mayor or a lawyer. That's
Yeah,
not, they want their kids to be that. But listen, it's not easy focusing on them and focusing on you.
it's not. So that's why a lot of women, again, trying to create a family, going back to what we said, the Matrix has told women that's what you're supposed to do. So you start trying to do this way too young. And you never give yourself time to figure out who you are, what you want, what you don't want,
Yep.
and mainly in number one, what your purpose is here on earth.
Yeah.
A lot of women feel like they just came here to have some kids and some grandkids.
And
Take
even
care
if that is your plight, if that's or not plight, but if that is your calling, it's nothing wrong with that. But even in that, you got to have time for yourself. You got to figure out self.
you would want to.
What are you teaching the kids?
You would want to. And we can see a lot of us because we don't know nothing else to do. The next generation follow right in our footsteps, having babies young, doing the same thing. It needs to
And
be a
then now in
mindset.
our 40s, I'm hearing a lot of women say, I can't wait for my child to have a kid.
Yeah,
In our 40s and
absolutely.
50s. It's like y'all desperate to be a grandmother. I'm not understanding
Well, they
why that.
desperate to be a grandmother because they ain't got nothing else, don't know nothing else to do.
But there's a ton of things, ladies, to do. There's a ton of things in this world to do. A
It
ton of them.
is. It is. It is. Ladies, it is more going on in life. But you got to take the time, you got to take some me time to figure out what you want. I always ask this question to
Mhm.
women, and don't nobody really know because you never thought about it. If there were no kids and no men to chase and no
What would
kids
you
to
do?
take care of, what would you do with your life?
What would you do?
What would you do with yourself? Most women can't even answer that because your whole life has revolved around kids and men. Not and you don't even know what you're here for. You don't know why did you come to earth in this lifetime? What did you come to do? What did you come to create? We're supposed to be what did you come to do? We don't even give ourselves time to figure that out because we're so busy, distracted, with men and relationships and chasing them. And let me tell you, like this whole trying to whining and crying about men and their cheating and what they ain't doing and who they ain't. It's a waste of time. You cannot make no grown person do what you want them to do. No matter how much we whine and cry about it. You see, they hadn't changed.
That way.
They hadn't changed in my lifetime because the generation of women before mine went through the same thing.
Hmm.
Men seem to be they don't feel like it's necessary to make. For what? They got it going on. They got you chasing them, cooking for them, effing them, cooking them food, and they got NFL. That's all they need. That's all they want. So all the rest of this stuff we be talking about, they don't care about that.
they got the NFL.
All they care about is game Sunday. Game Sunday. That's all they care about.
It's so deep that they created a Thursday football day. That
Yes.
didn't exist. Like we already had Sunday and Monday. They also created a Thursday on y'all.
Sunday afternoon, unless football season is in, Sunday afternoon, I don't never hear from a man I know to maybe 8, 9.
Unless they try to figure out what sports bar you at or trying to something to that effect. That's the only time you hear from them. I don't hear from them no more on Mondays and Thursdays. Real talk.
We be plugged in. That's what they care about while you sitting around feeling away that he ain't called or text or y'all didn't go out. All of these things when you could be creating your own life. What do you like to do outside of him? Do you even know what you like to do outside of him? Have you even thought about it? Women, we spend way, way too much of our time on men in relationships, and it rarely yields a reward because I don't know too many women that when they were on their last leg of life were with the man that they spun around for all them years. I don't know none. I don't know none. You did all that, all that time, and you ain't even end up with him. You know what you could have accomplished? Listen, ladies, imagine what you can accomplish for yourself if we spent all the time and energy that we do trying to get into a relationship and see what these men are doing on like our purpose, our career, our body, working on our body.
Your body is a big one because you want them and they about looks more than they about anything else.
We're going to do
so
a
you
whole
want
show
to work on your body. You will want to work on that.
We're going to do a whole show on that. That's some real talk because let me tell you, a lot of this inability to obtain the man that y'all so desperately trying to get has a lot to do with your weight.
It does.
And look, Benita and I recently lost weight. We're gonna have a show about our weight loss, and it's a difference. It's a difference. It's a difference. It's a difference. When I say a difference, I mean as far as how men perceive you in the attraction category. Not saying we didn't get men at our bigger sizes or men weren't attracted to us at our bigger sizes, but it's definitely been a shift. I can wholeheartedly say for me, and even
from ones I've been knowing for years to new ones that come around, it's a big difference.
Yeah, it's a shift. It's a shift in how they perceive because men are about looks. They're very visual.
Yes.
They're very visual. And that's not going to change. So working on getting yourself into shape will help you attract a better kind of, I don't say a better kind of man, but the kind of man most women would desire. Because, there are tweaks, of course. Some women like a man look this way, but for the most part, most women kind of want the same type of man, a man that has his own, provider.
Men with height. Y'all want them 6 foot tall men? 6 foot tall men require a look.
Yeah, those tall men are going. They know they're a hot commodity.
They are.
I know they know because they done told me. I have a lot of tall male friends, and they admit they have tall privilege. They know. They know these women want them. They know.
They know definitely. All you got to do is talk to a tall man about their homeboys because it may be a few that's tall in that whole group, but it's some that's short. Talk to the tall men on how they deal with they shorter homeboys.
Yeah.
What they have to do for their shorter homeboys.
Yeah, they short homeboys that looked over when they go out together. The women don't even look at them. They have to push them off on women.
Yeah, men have told us that they literally sit in the background or move to the back to move their homeboy to the front. And even if you asked, say your homegirl has a guy that she's dating and he's a tall dude and you have her asked him, "Do you have any available homeboys?" Majority of the time, he's gonna bring the shorter homeboys.
He sure is. They're trying to get them somebody.
Yeah, they're trying to help their shorter homeboys win.
They are. They are. You see that a lot. You see that a lot. So,
Yep.
so going back to what I was saying about the guy, my twin flame,
Mm-hmm.
I this the type of like the beer situation, that's the type of stuff I was doing. And this went on for about 2 or 3 years, y'all. This went on for a minute. And I will never forget the moment God stopped me right in my tracks, right? Because around 2000, so I met him around 2000, I think it was 2001. Yeah, because I met him right before 9/11, right before 9/11 happened. Because I remember I was moving into a new apartment around the time I think the week 9/11 happened, and I had met him like a month before that. But so 2005. So from 2001 to 2005, I chased this nigga, this man. I chased,
Got
yeah. And I remember one day I was in my room. This is when we still had we had cell phones, but landlines was still a big thing. I had a landline.
Okay.
And I went to call his job, call him because again he worked late.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew even before I picked up the phone, I knew he wasn't gonna answer the phone. Cause by this time he had started really backing away. Like he wasn't really engaging at all. Maybe the first 2 years, maybe 2.5, he was, but after that, he had really started pulling back. So I knew he wasn't gonna answer the phone, but I could not help myself.
Mm-hmm.
In my mind. I walked past my bedroom, went over to the nightstand, and I remember going to put my hand on the phone, on the receiver.
Mm-hmm.
And I paused for a minute. And something in my mind said, I'll never forget it. It said, "Why do you keep doing this to yourself?" And I remember tears coming, like tears welling up in my eyes. And I said, okay, okay. I'm not going to put myself through knowing damn well when you call him, he's not going to answer. And for me, that was the turning point of my journey to loving myself. Because in that moment, in my mind, I had chosen myself finally. All this time, I'm running behind him, trying to get him to see me, trying to get him to acknowledge me, trying to get him to love me and be with me. At that moment, I said, okay, I'm not going to hurt myself anymore. I'm not going to put myself in a position to be rejected. I'm going to choose me. And from that moment on, it was me actively making choices. And of course, I had relapses and I had times because it's a process, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's a process. That was my moment to start the healing journey and the journey to self-love. And God started showing me through that experience with him that you can't have something you don't believe you deserve. God was like, you think he better than you. God was like, you think he better than you because he went to, and I talk about this in the Twin Flame show, but you think he better than you because he went to this like big name technical college. I didn't, right? He had parents were still together. Both his parents were like had big name, big time jobs, and he was kind of raised in that type of environment where my stepfather was there, but like my parents worked regular jobs. They didn't have no like they weren't like professors or anything like that, like his parents were. So I
Mm-hmm.
had all of these things in my mind, that said that he was better than me, but yet and still, I still wanted him. God was like, you always gonna feel like you're beneath him.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even see yourself as worthy. And I didn't. I didn't. So that experience with him helped catapult me into what we call spiritual awakening, where I really start digging deep and peeling back the layers of myself of why I felt this unworthiness. And I came to the conclusion that a lot of it had to do with my biological father and my mother when they split up. I was, I don't know, one or so. My biological dad decided to marry somebody else, and the woman she didn't want kids, she didn't like kids. So couldn't come around, right? And then when I got old enough to become aware that this was what had happened, I had a lot of resentment towards him. Why didn't you feel that I was worthy enough to be chosen over your wife? Like you chose a woman over your child. Like those were all the things that I was carrying inside. Your daddy didn't even want you. So why would a man want you? But I didn't know that though, because it was a
Mm-hmm.
subconscious thing. A
Yeah,
lot of our traumas are subconscious.
they are.
We're not aware of them. What you thought
That
this
is
to
true.
me?
Huh?
Yeah, they were subconscious. So I was, making choices from a broken space,
Mm-hmm.
right? A
Yeah.
lot of choices, particularly when it came to men. So I had to spend a lot of time healing and working on my thought process about myself and how I saw myself in the 3D or in the matrix or in society, right? Because a lot of my
Mm-hmm.
judgments of myself were based on what they said this should look like
Mm-hmm.
here, right? I
Yeah.
wasn't basing my worth and value on what God already showed me or who God told me I was. And a lot of us do that. We're seeking validation and acceptance from the peanut gallery, from the matrix. Although is telling you something completely different, is showing you something completely different about who you are, and even more who you're gonna become. You're letting your naysayers rule your mind and get into your head, particularly men. And in this day and age, meaning this year that we are currently in 2023, social media has exploded and everybody is looking at each other, comparing themselves to
Big time. Yep.
each other's lives with women, each other's body. There's a
Yep.
lot of body envy amongst women, and I get it. We all want to look our best. You want to feel attractive.
Mm-hmm.
When you, like Deion Sanders said, when you look good, you feel good. I was feeling that. I
That's
was.
the truth, though.
Yeah.
Dion is accurate. That's correct.
When you look good, you feel good. But
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, ladies, you got to put in some work to get to back to where, because a lot of us were thinner when we were younger, particularly before we had children.
Mm-hmm.
The
That's
weight
usually
just
where the
ain't gonna
weight comes
fall
in.
off.
It's just not. You got to put in some work, especially once you hit your 40s.
You got to put in
It
some
doesn't
work.
come off the same.
You got to put in some work
You do.
because the caliber of man that you would desire, he's gonna require you to look away. He's gonna require you to look a certain way. And most men with the money that most women want a man to have or ask for,
Mhm.
you're gonna have to look a certain. He's gonna require you to be fit. And even if he likes you thick, there's a limit to that too with a lot of men.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying you. I feel like having lost weight recently myself, I feel amazing, right? And I
Mm.
do want that for every woman to really be feeling yourself. I do. But you can't sit on your ass and do nothing and think that it's just gonna happen. You got to put some work towards it. And we'll have a show on weight loss and go into detail about, some of the things that you can do and some of the options you have, because being I understand that it ain't easy. It ain't no easy
It's not.
journey.
It's not.
It takes time and consistency.
Hmm.
And sometimes I know particularly women, because we're taking care of everybody, kids, grandkids, a man, whoever. A lot of times we don't have the time. We don't make the time to pour into ourselves. We don't make the time to take
Yeah.
care of ourselves.
You have to carve out the space for that. Even in the midst of raising kids, you
You
have to
do.
carve out that space.
If you want to see a different result.
Yes.
These men ain't gonna save us, ladies. They don't even want to. It's not their job.
It's not.
You got to
Just like
create
it's
your
not your
own.
job to save them. That's not your job.
It's not your job. We're gonna talk about that on another show too. But it's a part of them want to be saved too. So we're gonna talk about that too.
They are.
It's everybody's responsibility. All of us, it's our responsibility to create our own life. You come here and co-create with God. You co-create with the universe. But you've got to do something. You can't just sit around and wait for some man on a prince. Y'all be looking for a prince to come. We're looking for a prince, yeah.
There's
These
no
fairy
castle
tales,
in Atlanta. Where the heck is the castle in Atlanta?
a
There's no
damn
castle.
prince. He weighs on the east side of Atlanta. So big dope, young. Saying he a fucking prince.
Whew. But okay.
He not.
He's
He
not a
not.
prince.
These men be having their own issues. So when y'all try to link yourself up with them, just know you're taking on all they shits too. You're taking them on. You're signing up for it. So make sure you're ready, or you can heal. You can start healing. Then you'll be able to attract a better caliber of man, a man who's in a more healed
Healed
space.
space.
Because if
Exactly.
you're low vibrational, you're gonna get you a low vibrational. That's just how it works.
Period.
You attract your vibrational match.
Hmm.
I always say, if you want to look at your self-esteem, look at your mate. That's your self-esteem in the physical.
That way.
That's what you think you deserve right there.
Hmm.
Whatever that is, good or bad. That we got to work on ourselves. And this podcast is going to talk a lot about working on ourselves,
Hmm.
throughout the years to come, because that is the key to creating the life you want. That is the key to my light. That's the key to the light he was able to see in my picture.
Exactly.
There's nothing from on the outside of myself, meaning houses, cars, men, whatever, that's making me feel amazing. It's knowing that I'm worthy, knowing that I deserve the best, standing on
Mhm.
that, knowing that I'm looking great because I worked on that.
Yes, and you
All
gotta
of these.
stand on it. Please hear her when she say you gotta stand on it. It's great to say things, "Yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
accepting this, I'm not accepting that," because the universe will test you.
the universe got to. Do
Yeah,
you
to
believe what you're
see if
saying?
that's yeah, do you believe what you're saying? Imma bring in this individual, let's see how you play this out.
I'm gonna bring in this man. He gonna treat you like this. Let me see how much you love yourself. Let me
Exactly.
see how much you're gonna allow him to do.
Mhm.
You're always you. This is a school of evolution.
Period.
So while y'all think this is some fairy tale, it ain't even that. People come into your life, particularly relationships, to teach, grow, and evolve you. And the
Mhm.
beautiful thing is you can enjoy them because they can be great, particularly if you got,
That
you
can.
know, a good connection with somebody out having fun. That's
Mhm.
amazing, you know. But
But you have to
ultimately,
set your boundaries and your guidelines to what you will and will not accept
it's
from
stand
them,
on
period.
that. Stand on
Stand
that.
on it
And
hard.
a lot of times throughout that, you're gonna have to fight a lot of fears and insecurities, but that's what it's
That's
for.
the
It's
thing.
that
Yeah.
these men come into our lives to bring up those fears and insecurities so we can look at them. Because it's never
Mhm.
about him. He just come into your life to show you you.
You all day. It's never about them. It's always about you.
It's never about him and what he did. It's about you and what you allowed and accepted.
Exactly.
And that's how you evolve.
Hmm.
So the next time you'll know, okay, I ain't gonna never allow myself to go through that no more.
Exactly.
I ain't gonna never do that no more. I ain't gonna never do that no more. That's evolution. But you got to become aware that that's what you're doing. We be in these relationships in a fantasy. In a fantasy. If he's a great man, enjoy him. It's a blessing to come across a great man, that really cares about you and the children and all of that. It's a blessing.
It
Cherish
is.
that.
Hmm.
Yeah, cherish that. But if you don't have that, then you might need to do a little bit of work or wait, until that presents itself. Like Benita said, it might be some lonely days, right?
Yes.
It
Yes.
might be some lonely days. But are you going to accept lower than what you deserve just to have somebody? That's up to you. But the universe is going to give you what you think you deserve, whatever that is.
Exactly.
That's how it goes. And again, I'm going back to what I said about looks. A lot of us are insecure about our looks. That keeps us in situations we know we should not be in because you don't know if you could get somebody else or somebody's going to like you. All of those
Exactly.
things.
A lot of times that's why you ladies stay in it. I don't know how much you admit it to yourself, but a lot of times that's the case. You don't
Yes,
move because you don't perceive that you're going to be able to pull in anybody else.
you don't.
It's the
And
truth.
again, that's another working on yourself.
Yep.
There's things we can do to make ourselves more physically attractive, but
Hmm.
it actually starts with fixing what's on the inside first.
It does. That is the first step. Because
Yes,
even fixing your outside does not shine that light that draws them in.
you don't. That's a energetic thing.
Yeah, that's within you.
Yeah, that's an energy thing. And we're gonna talk about Benita and I, we're gonna talk, in the coming shows about what we did, how we were able to evolve and start seeing ourselves the way God has always saw us and not through the eyes of the matrix.
Yes.
When you can master that, you can really start creating the life that you want. That as long as you're looking for outside validation, you're going to be a rat on a wheel. You're going to be a hamster, just spinning, 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 hoping that somebody finally acknowledges you and sees you as worthy. They won't, because if you don't, they're not. People
At
follow
the end
how
of the
you
day.
feel about yourself is how everybody else going to feel about you.
Yes. That's exactly how they treat you.
Hmm. That's how it goes. That's why healing is so important. If you're really serious about creating the life you want, now if you cool with, passively existing and just waiting, for some grandkids to get that, do you. But if you if you really want to live an amazing life and shine bright and feel good, we're gonna have to do some work on ourselves, ladies. It's not men's job to save us. It's not. We got to save ourselves. We came into this world alone. We're going to leave alone. We came into it alone for a reason. It's your journey.
Exactly.
It's your journey, right? By yourself. You can have somebody, be married and all that great stuff, but ultimately it's still your journey.
At the end of
Your
the day.
journey to healing is always a journey to self love. That's what we're doing here. We're learning to love ourselves the
Mhm.
way that God loves us. And that takes work a lot of times. But like I said, we're gonna talk about that in a lot of future shows. I just wanted to talk about that tonight because when he said that he could see my light in the picture, I just seemed so bright. I thought that was deep, and I was happy that that was shining through because that's how I felt. That's how I
Mm.
feel. Of course, I have my moments. I'm human, but for the most part, I feel great. I feel amazing, and I'm happy about that because if y'all only knew the depression God helped me fought through, I had to fight through, only then you will understand my joy. If you only knew the depression I fought, then you will understand the joy I feel today. And I'm going to be talking about that a lot in the coming shows because, people see a lot. Sometimes people just see the end part of it, but they don't see what the beginning part of it.
That's on majority of the things. People be wanting quick fixes. It's no quick fix
It's
to
not,
evolution.
it's not. I had some dark days, some very dark days, some days I don't even want to be here no more.
Hmm.
But thank God, God held my hand through my healing journey. Thank God. And, I want to help women who are also feeling the same way to know that, there is hope. There is hope for a better tomorrow. You don't have to just accept your circumstances and just accept the fact that you feel like you're never going to be happy or no one's ever going to love you and all of these things that we tell ourselves, because I was telling myself that for a while. So I get it. I get it. So we are right at an hour. V, do you have
Yeah.
anything to add?
No, not on this show. We pretty much covered what we needed to cover on this.
Okay.
Because if I go into anything, it's going to be more in depth on other shows we need to go into.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Well, thank you guys for tuning in as always. We are so happy and excited to be back,
we are.
after these months chopping it up again. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. We're trying to grow the channel and the podcast, and you can also hit the notification bell. However, we are here on Wednesday nights at 7:30. Yeah, so join us again. We didn't drop the link on this show because this isn't actually live. We're pre-recording this one, but the most of our shows will be a live show, so you can interact with us in the future. And yeah, so I hope you all have a great rest of your week. And Vanita and I will see you next Wednesday at 7:30 right here.
You
Y'all
guys have
take
a good
care.
week. All
All right.
right.
Bye,
Bye
y'all.
bye.